Ahead of the general election last year, my number one promise to you was to make sure that I do everything I can to remove the roadblocks to getting new nuclear here in West Cumbria. This matters so much to our community because securing new nuclear would bring clean energy onto the grid in our area and power up new industries and create thousands of jobs and opportunities for future generations. 9 months into my job as your Member of Parliament, I want to update you on the progress that's been made so far and what I'm hoping happens in the next few months. I don't want to underscore the scale of the challenge that we inherited after the election in July. Despite the fact that the last Labour government had approved a new nuclear project to go ahead here in West Cumbria, by 2025, more than 15 years on since that approval had been made, we had no further progress. In 2018, the New Gen project collapsed and the Tories failed to step in. A few years later, we had opportunities for a fusion reactor experiment programme to come here, and we had interest from a private nuclear developer to develop some of the land at Moorside. The Moorside papers, which I published a couple of months ago, show that the Tories blocked those projects. And finally, the last Tory government decided to purchase land in Gloucestershire and at Anglesey for SMRs, but did not make a similar decision to acquire land for new nuclear use here in West Cumbria. So that's the situation we faced when I was elected. Immediately after the election, my first steps were to bring all of the key stakeholders together and make sure they knew this was my top priority. I brought together the NDA, Sellafield, civil servants from across government, ministers at the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, and I also took this issue to the Prime Minister's office in Downing Street. I sent off a flurry of letters and questions to officials and ministers right the way across Whitehall, and part of that was to expose what had happened under the previous government. I contacted loads of businesses and companies that are in the nuclear industry and the supply chain to make sure that there was some appetite and genuine appetite to make use of land here in West Cumbria, and the good news was that there is. I had over a dozen meetings with ministers across government to put this issue on their radar and make sure that they knew it was a priority. And I held the first debate of the new Parliament on nuclear, specifically on the issue of what we're doing at Moorside. All of these efforts culminated in the creation of the Cumberland Nuclear Future Board. This brings together all of the key players. It's led by myself and the leader of Cumberland Council, Mark Fryer. It's including all of the Cumberland Members of Parliament, and it's chaired by Ed Miliband, the Secretary of State for Energy Security. This is a major development for this project. For the first time in a long time, we have all the key players pulling in the same direction with a shared goal, and that goal has three parts to it. The first is making sure that we remove the roadblock to some of the land at the Moorside site. So that's the top priority. It's to make sure that we work with the NDA, the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority who runs Sellafield, the council and central government to free up some of that land so that it can be developed for a private nuclear project, and that we can then get some of the industry on the same site to create the jobs that we need in our area. The second is to make the fullest use of the opportunity that comes from the government's decision about what we do with the 140 tonnes of plutonium at the site. Now, whether you agree or not with the decision to dispose of the plutonium, what we do need to make sure is that whatever decision has been made brings jobs and investment here to West Cumbria. So that's the second priority. And the third is to make sure that we reset how we use some of the social investment that comes from Sellafield so that we can actually start to regenerate in a really big and ambitious way the state of our towns that are closest to the Sellafield site, particularly Whitehaven and Egremont. We want to pull all of this together into a new Team West Cumbria, working as a partnership across all the different bodies, pulling in the same direction and actually achieving real regeneration for our towns so that they're beautiful places for people to grow up in, live in, move to and visit, and so that we can then get some of the infrastructure fixed so that our area opens up as an economy for other parts of the UK to invest in. There are absolutely no guarantees that this will come off. And if I'm being totally honest with you, not all of the decisions about whether this will happen are in my hands or even the council's hands. But if you'd asked me when I'd seen the state of the position we were in immediately after the election, whether we'd even be this far forward 9 months on, I would have been surprised. So all of my career has been spent trying to solve tricky problems by rolling up my sleeves and working with energy with others to actually solve problems. I'm going to take exactly the same approach to this, and I won't give up until we've sorted out this issue so that we can unlock the potential for new nuclear here in West Cumbria, reset the relationship with the community and the nuclear industry, create the jobs and opportunities that people need, put our area back on the map for clean energy and advanced manufacturing and industry, and make sure that our area has the brighter future that West Cumbria deserves.